Thank you for tuning in to the Harbor Trust Financial Podcast. Before we get started, we just need to read a quick disclaimer to you all. The content of this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. Now, although we are both licensed financial security advisors, the opinions and the views that we express in this podcast do not constitute of personalized financial advice, and any information provided is very general in nature, which means that it may not apply to your specific circumstances. Now, before making any financial decisions or taking any actions based on the information that you hear on this podcast, we strongly encourage you to consult with a qualified financial advisor like ourselves, who can provide you with personalized financial advice that's tailored to your specific situation. The hosts, which is us, and the guests of this podcast are not liable for any actions that will be or are taken based on the information provided on this podcast. Always seek professional advice prior to making financial decisions. It's crucial. It's very important. With that being said, do you agree, Phil?
I agree. And we need to protect ourselves. So now that's out of the way, we hope you enjoy your podcast.
Hope you enjoy the show.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whatever time it is that you are watching. And welcome to the Harbor Trust Financial Podcast, the first edition here today, where we're going to be talking about what it is that we do, what it is that we're going to be talking about in later episodes. The what financial podcast?
The
What is
who?
the Harbor Trust? The who? Before we kick things off, we just want to thank you so much for watching and tuning in here today. My name is Shane. I'm a licensed financial security advisor in the province of New Brunswick here on the east coast of Canada. And I'm joined here by my co-host, which I will be hopefully forever in this podcast, joined by my co-host, Mr. Phil Bellin, who is as well a licensed financial security advisor in the province of New Brunswick and as well other provinces, if I'm not mistaken.
Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, and Ontario.
And Ontario as well. So today, the point today here, Phil, we just want to kind of kick things off on the right foot and give a little bit of an intro on what this is going to be, what it is that we're going to be talking about in later episodes. What does it mean? How do we get the name? The reason why we're doing this. I think it's going to be important to kind of kick things off roughly, and just if we want to give a brief introduction. Harbor Trust, Phil, we talked about doing a podcast for quite a long time. I can trace our first conversations about starting a podcast back in years. So we're finally here doing this. What does this mean to you, and what do you think our purpose here is today?
I'm excited to kick things off because, I've been in the industry for 10 years.
Right.
So it's been a long time coming for me just to deliver some of the knowledge I've accumulated over the last 10 years. The people I've been surrounding myself, people even 30 years in the business, picking their brain. And one big thing I like to bring to the table with this podcast is seeing on a weekly basis those clients that we meet
Right.
that have no idea sometimes on the finance. Some people have those general ideas, but more complex on how policy works, where to invest your money.
Right.
It could be your group benefit contract, how to read, what to look for. So all
Right.
these tips, these tricks that we could bring together to you guys, and share it to a lot more people, so
Absolutely.
you can get more knowledgeable with your finance.
Absolutely. And we're going to talk about our why. The idea of Harbor Trust was we're East Coast Canadians. We're here in the Maritimes, and we really wanted to create this platform for East Coast Canadians. And the reason behind that is there's not really, that I know of at least, at some form of media or some form of informational media, I guess is the word, but there's nothing really there as a resource for Atlantic Canadians in terms of making finance helpful, trustworthy, and friendly. Hence the Harbor Trust Financial, HTF, helpful, trustworthy, and friendly. And that's our why, really, is to bring information, tips, tricks, explanations, how to do things, how to understand things, how to plan for things. And in our day-to-day, we meet with clients, and we kind of see the real life issues that people are dealing with, and we understand the things that are more or less understood, I guess, in the general public about personal finance. And I guess we want to kind of take concepts and make them digestible.
Make it
'Cause
easy for them.
make it as easy as possible. And I mean, we're going to get into some pretty deep conversations in later episodes for sure. We got quite a lineup of episodes to release on a number of different subjects that have so much relevance to life events,
Mhm.
any part that you are in terms of your life, any stage of life that you're in, which kind of brings us into our next little topic that we're bringing up is who should be watching the podcast. Like who should be watching, Phil? Like
Literally anybody,
anybody should, yeah.
anybody, we're taught to, especially like 18 years and older, those who are making the money
Making
as
income,
well.
of course, right? Like
But not only that, but also parents who has kids. We will talk about some investment strategies, RESPs.
to help
A
get
lot
your
of people,
kids set up as
yeah,
well.
a
Yeah.
lot of people will put money into RESP, but don't necessarily know that there's a certain cap that the government will put in, right,
Right.
for this, for the amount of money you'll generate with
Right.
the interest and whatnot. So
And
the
we'll have an episode in the
Yep,
future
we will.
for education for kids
Yep.
and how to get your kids set up financially if you're welcoming a newborn or expecting a baby, or even if you have young kids
Retirement
already,
too.
retirement as well.
Yeah.
We're talking about any savings plans that you have, renovations, buying a house,
Different types of life insurance.
different types of life insurance,
Why do I have like 3
protections.
life insurance? I
Yeah,
don't
right,
understand.
right, right. Exactly. What do I have at work, right?
Yeah.
Like people who are graduating university or graduating college or even just graduating high school, getting into the workforce, no difference. It's all about what does that mean? What does
Mhm.
that mean for my life? You have work insurance that you don't understand. Well, I think it's pretty darn important to understand it. And unfortunately, in our day to day, most people don't. So we end up explaining it to them and they find out, if there's anything that they need to top up on that insurance, or if maybe they're paying for insurance that they don't even need
That's
and
right.
they don't even know about it. So these are all really, really relevant things. And I think these are bits of information that the general public should have. I think this is kind of basic financial knowledge. And hopefully, through this podcast, we're going to be able to transmit that and share that throughout the east coast of Canada for our fellow Maritimers.
Mhm.
What can you expect from us in the near future? What are the later episodes going to look like? We talked a little bit about what the stages of life
Mhm.
could be for and how that could be relevant for you. And we mentioned a really high level of stage lives, life stages. There's so much more that applies to what we're going to talk about.
Mhm.
But what can we expect? What kind of things are we going to be talking about later?
Yep. Keep it simple. Everything we know and we have our resources or the tools that we have to help you. So we have all in insurance and all investments. So then we're going to blend those together. We've got about 30 some products on the insurance side, and we have about 15 products on the investment side. So when we make those blends and those strategies, and there's going to be some episodes for you, and might be some episodes you already advance on certain things, but
Right.
that's what I'll be able to pick and choose.
Right.
But our goal or mission is really to get the word out, how we can help people, and not necessarily just to come to us, but also what kind of question, if you already have a financial advisor, what kind of questions you should be asking her or him about certain things, about your policies and whatnot. So, in a
Absolutely.
nutshell.
Absolutely. And I think something that's going to be very important going forward as well is our audience. I mean, we really want to understand what people want to hear
Mhm.
also, right? So we're not just here to try to deliver lectures on financial security and personal finances. We really want to make sure this is relevant. So feel free to leave any sort of feedback or comments or questions that you have wherever it is that you're watching this podcast or listening to it. We have social medias as well that are very easily findable. Again, they're going to be linked on whatever platform you're watching this. And I encourage to give us a follow and interact with us. Send us a message. Ask your questions that you don't really want to go out of your way and book an appointment to ask that question. You know what I mean? It's going to be a good way, I think, to deliver burning questions that people have been, asking themselves about finances. How do I get started on this? Or what is the first step that I should take to move forward towards this goal that I have? What the heck is insurance? What does that do? Like, why is that relevant? My parents talk about it all the time and I
Do I
don't know
need
why.
it?
Do I need it? Like, and even, for parents out there as well, I mentioned, like, from a kid's point of view, my parents always talk about insurance and what does that mean and yada, yada. But in a parent's point of view, how do you talk about that with your kids?
Mhm.
It's all really important stuff. And I think that this podcast is going to be a good medium for us to share that information
Yep.
as well.
So we're pretty excited. Hope you guys will be able to stay tuned in, and we can bring those boring subject and make it fun, because
Try to give it a bit of
insurance
life. It's not the
insurance
most
is
fun
not
thing,
the
yeah.
most fun thing, so
Yeah.
we'll try to make it fun, easy for you guys to understand too, because
Absolutely.
it can get complex. And that's about it on my side.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to be releasing hopefully one episode a week.
Yep.
Is roughly the pace that we would like to go on for a stretch of time. We're going to be recording these in batches, so obviously we're going to be releasing them as we go. But again, that's the fun part of that, is we have the opportunity to kind of start creating some podcast episode ideas based on whatever it is that you want to hear. Any questions that you have. So if you're at a part in your life where you are looking to buy a house, I think, well, I don't even know if we planned out this episode yet, but that could be an episode where we talk about the 101 on what it is that you should be ready for in terms of getting a house in Atlantic Canada, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, PEI, Newfoundland, and honestly across Canada as well. This advice is pretty similar, but we're obviously going to be speaking to our Maritimers here. And that's going to help us create some more relevant content for you, and hopefully it's as we've described it. We want this to be helpful, trustworthy, and friendly, and that's the idea behind us sharing financial information, to help people be more financially literate and to help you make more concise, thought out, smart decisions about your finances that you can feel confident about, and that you don't have to worry or have those doubts of, am I doing the right thing? If we equip you with a good tool belt, if you equip yourself with a good tool belt of financial knowledge, I think that unlocks your ability to feel more confident about yourself and start eliminating those financial worries and stresses that we tend to feel. It can be debt. It can be, again, trying to achieve a goal, buy a house, send the kids to school, whatever that may be, retire. It can be anything. So we just really want to make sure that we cover all those topics in the most digestible way possible.
So stay tuned, and we look forward to having you guys on our first episode.
Yeah, for sure. And leave some comments, leave some interaction there, show us that you're here. And on that note, I think this really wraps up a really short and sweet episode about what it is that we're doing here, what is the Harbor Trust Financial Podcast, and what you could expect from us coming in the future. So hopefully that wraps everything up pretty well. My name again was Shane, joined here by my co-host Phil in this week's episode of the Harbor Trust Financial Podcast. We can't wait to see you again next week in our coming episode. Stay tuned and have a great week.
See you guys.